Okay. I have these two mice, and I've had them for a while, and I've done a review of each. So go watch the reviews. Come back. Okay, welcome back. Okay, so let me start with, this is the Lamzu Atlantis OG version 2, and it has the new skates on them, not the Sapphire. I think there's glass skates that you can get. This is just regular PTFE, PTFE. Anyway, I've got some white tape on these because it comes with black tape for a white mouse. This is actually something I found on Amazon that's for a, and I'm noticing now that it's extremely dirty, that it's actually for a super light, but I put it on here. And now I'm thinking, hey, maybe that's why they don't put white tape in there, because it just picks up every little bitty piece of dirt. Now I get it. Okay, moving on. But with this mouse, you can obviously tell just by looking at these. Yes, this comes with black tape. They're not shaped exactly the same. And I like that. I don't like to have like a whole slew of mice that are exactly the same. I like to have a little bit of variation and variety. That's what it's all about. So as you can see, these are like separate feet. This is two big giant feet. That does make a little bit of a difference on how it feels. And you can see right here, these both are, thank God, USB-C. And then you can also see the width of the buttons here, and then the width of the mouse, the wheel. There's a little wheel, and then there's a bigger wheel. And these feel different. And then we'll look at the back. The back right here, you can see, separate a little bit. Oop, almost dropped it. It's a little bit fatter on the Lamzu. On that back end. So now that we know how they feel, she could use two at one time. Let's talk about some specs. All right. Again, these are the same kind of feet. This feels, you can kind of tell that it has more of a surface on the bottom as you're moving it. But as far as, the feel of moving around, they're pretty much the same. I don't have a problem with any of it. Button placement is not identical. This is a little bit further back, as you can see. Or maybe they're just a little bit wider and a little bit skinnier on the Haste. See the, and then they're a little bit more pronounced all the way around. Whereas the Lamzu has this kind of, the top one goes in a little bit, and then the back one goes back a little bit. See that? So it's kind of like a C shape. So when you're using that front button, it's not, you're not going clunk. It's just a little bit of a better little click. And I like that. I like these side buttons. These are probably my favorite side buttons ever. These feel good, don't get me wrong. And they're really cool that they have a different texture. Like this is a different texture than this glossy right here. So when you put your thumb on it, you can feel it. I think I said that in my review. I really like that. But these just feel right. They just feel good. Okay. Now, texture. This has a little bit more of a texture on it. And you can probably hear it. Okay, this is a little bit smoother. The Lamzu is smoother, but it's, as you can see, it's still got a little bit of an eggshell. You can feel it. But what I like about it is that after a little bit, and your hand gets just a tad clammy, it like sticks to it like glue. I'm like, it's not going anywhere. You're not going to go, ugh, where'd it go? So, yeah, that feels really good. And this is what it sounds like. So you can barely even hear it because it doesn't have much of a texture. But both feel nice. They're different, but they both feel nice. Okay, let's talk about the sensor. Let's move this one over here. Now, this is where it gets kind of weird, and I'm not sure if I like this. I don't have a problem with the sensor. I think this sensor is better than the previous Haste. but this is, which was using someone else's sensor. This one is actually HyperX's sensor. It's the 26K sensor. So who actually makes it, or if it's something of their own design, I don't know, and that's what I don't like. I want to know what that is. I want to know who it is. If it's something that they've made, great, that's fine. Just, I want to know that. But it's otherwise, I mean, it works great. I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever. Tracking on it is really good. I'm running both of these at 1600 DPI. I went from 1300 to 800 and then back up to 1600, because it just feels better to me. It feels a little bit more responsive. Of course, take your sensitivity down or drive you nuts. And then, yeah, I mean, it's their sensor. I can't really say much else about it. Now, the buttons are also HyperX buttons. I mean, that's the description. They're HyperX buttons. But they're really good. I mean, I don't like them. I like the shape of the shell over the buttons, but the actual switches are nice. And you will hear them right now. There we go. Great. Great stuff. Okay. Now, the wheel is, like I said earlier in gameplay, it's fine. It works great. But it does have a noticeable, like where the notches are for the clicks. It's like, clunk, 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 clunk. Maybe you can hear it. No, I don't think it's picking anything up. And it's fine. It just feels normal. There's nothing special. The tension in it is really good, and the rubber on it is really good. So, not really anything to write home about. Wish it was a little bigger, but otherwise. But that's pretty much it spec-wise for this guy. Other than it does run at 240, their own 240 gigahertz, and then it also will work corded, obviously. But it also has Bluetooth, so you can have this attached to another device. You can switch over to Bluetooth and use it, and then go back to 240 or plug it in. So multiple device functionality. All right, now this one. This is using the Hanoa, if I'm saying that right, 80 millimeter blue shell pink dot, or 80 mil. Sorry, switches. And they are noticeably different. You can tell the difference between these two switches. So I'm pretty sure they're not using HyperX isn't using a variation of this. And it probably helps too to have these really flat buttons. But the switches are equally nice. I mean, they're very responsive. And let's hear them. Notice the left is like clunk, clunk, and then the right is like click, click. I like that. I like having that little bit separation. They're the same switch, but with the buttons, the covers over them, and where they're placed, it gives it a little bit of a variation. I really like that. The sensor is a PixArt 3395, which is becoming standard right now, and I don't think anybody is having an issue with that. I like the 95, and yeah, I mean it's a solid sensor. This is wireless, 2.4 gigahertz, and it will work while you're charging it with a cord. No Bluetooth, no big deal. All right, so that's pretty much it. Oh, and the wheel. Let's talk about this wheel, because look, you can tell a difference in these, right? This one's bigger, and I'm finding that I like a bigger wheel. It's wider, and it is a little bit of a bigger wheel. The rubber on it is a little softer, which I also like. And then, of course, the clicks, the actual tension in it and everything. You can feel where it's hitting that notch, but it's not like it's not like the spinning the wheel of fortune, clack, 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 much like this one is. It's just very subtle, and I like that a lot. So as far as wheels, I like the wheel here better. So as far as spec-wise and feel, that's pretty much it. You saw gameplay, my terrible shooting. When I make videos, I always play worse, I promise. But I think as far as picking one of these, if I had to walk away with one of these, Surprisingly, I think it would have to be the HyperX. Even though I like these, but I don't the side buttons, but I don't like the side buttons as well as the Lamzu, and I don't like the wheel as well as the Lamzu. But it all comes down to feel. It's really the shape. I like the shape of this one better, and that's what you want when you put your hand on a mouse. It doesn't look like much. It looks standard. It looks like a little bit of a bump on a Razer Viper. But when you put your hand on it, it's like everything is right here, and then it relaxes forward. It's just hard to explain, but every time I pick it up and use it, I'm like, this feels so good. When I pick up this one, it's like, oh, this feels good, and then I forget about it, which is still also equally good, just in a different way. Yeah. So as far as these guys duking it out, I think if you're looking for a mouse that's wireless, very competitive, and has a good durability, a good build, I think they both are built very well. And you want something super light. This is 54 grams. It says 55 in the box, but mine comes in at 54 grams. Super light. This one is not as light, but still, I think if you use this after using this one, you wouldn't notice it after about 30 seconds. Honestly, it's not that much of a difference. So, yeah, but still, I think that as far as like overall build quality, performance, and feel, the HyperX 2 wins. But if this broke or my dog ate it, I wouldn't turn around and buy one immediately. I would just go, oh, I'm just going to use my Lamzu, and be perfectly happy for a while, if that tells you anything. So that's it. That's pretty much it. I think the HyperX 2 wins by a very small margin. So these guys are fighting it out. And then this one's going to go back in the drawer, I guess, and this is going to step up my game in some Halo Infinite. So again, thanks for watching. I hope this helps. Please please subscribe. It helps my channel, and I'm trying to grow it so that maybe one day I can afford a better camera than this rather inexpensive webcam, and you guys can see super rich detail in things like this. So otherwise, have a great day.